Yep. And then go ahead and click, everyone, if you guys want to click enter webinar. Yep. This one right there. Perfect. And then Jonathan, if you can hear me from backstage, you'll want to hit go to webinar.
Matt, do I stay on this click? I don't see myself when I talk here.
Are you not seeing yourself?
Oh, it's okay. Oh, I'm here.
Oh, yep. Cool. Here. Right. Okay, everyone should be admitted. Good evening, Eileen. Hi, sorry. There were some slight technical difficulties getting this up and running tonight. We are good to go, though. So good evening. My name is Matt Harwell. I'm the head of experience here at BZ Build Co. And I am pleased to present the third in our series of online webinars, Rebuild Roadmap. Our first one, we talked about the road to construction. Our second one, we talked about permitting issues with the county. And then tonight, we have with us our general contractor and co-founder, John Brennan, who you can see on your screen. He is going to speak with us about costs and pricing and how these sorts of things are calculated in a rebuild. And hopefully you will find that information extremely useful. So we also have with us John Gallagher, and Jonathan Gallagher is one of our build specialists. I'm moving him to the webinar right now. That was the technical difficulty we were facing, is we were stuck backstage on the Zoom webinar. So we are all here now. So Jonathan, I just introduced John and the webinar. If you want to introduce yourself real quick, and then we'll get started. We've got a series of questions Jonathan is going to go through with John and just kind of have a conversation. And then at the end, there will be an opportunity for a question and answer session. Any questions you guys have for John, we'll be excited to get into them. So Jonathan, please introduce yourself.
Awesome. Thank you for the intro, Matt. You got a little bit.
You are muted, sir. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Yeah, Matt, you got a little bit of an echo. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Jonathan Gallagher. Welcome to the Rebuild Roadmap. I'm a build specialist with BZ Build Co. I have over 10 years in real estate and construction business with multifamily, residential, and industrial real estate. And love to take this opportunity to educate all of you on rebuilding and here with John Brennan to introduce some of the key factors and really dig into some challenging issues that you can face along that process. So by way, John Brennan, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Thank you for taking the time to meet with us today.
Real quick. Eileen and Mark, I saw you both said there was a really bad echo. I was in the same room as John. I've moved into a separate room. Has that addressed the echo issue? Is that fixed now?
Much better. Yes.
Excellent. Okay.
Well, let's try when I say hi. Let's see how the echo works now. Yeah. Hello there, John Brennan, BZ Build Co., general contractor. Happy to be here tonight. Happy to talk to you all, answer questions, go through the lineup here of questions Jonathan has for us. I love to do residential construction. Been in the business almost 20 years. I've built all different types of residential construction, as well as industrial improvements and commercial construction as well. But 95% of our work is residential construction, from ground up new construction to complete rebuilds, tearing older homes, 1920s, 40s homes to the studs, to nothing, building them into two-story homes, to single story additions, complete remodels. So we have experience in all different aspects around the build of residential.
Awesome. Thank you, John. So I put together a list of questions that I want to run through today. Getting out in the community, especially in Altadena, we are hearing a lot of specific questions around building costs, the process, length of time, dealing with the county, construction materials, fire resilience. And so, as we get into the questions, we'll kind of go through one by one. I'll tell you a little bit about sort of what we've been hearing, and then turn it over to you. So, Matt, do you want to follow through to the next slide? Awesome. So our first topic is going to be opportunities and really providing some expert advice. One of the things that we're hearing a lot, given coming post fire and speaking specifically about new construction, is what are some of the new materials or construction trends that you're most excited about for these custom homes that we're going to be rebuilding?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. What I like most important when we're close and we're someone's thinking about either building a new house or they're practically torn, the opportunity of building new homes has never been to this magnitude of building all of the number of homes that need to be built, like the needs are in Altadena. So for many years, we're taking older homes down to practically nothing and rebuilding them. They're still considered a 1920s, 40, 50, whatever the year built was, but they're being completely rebuilt. But they still have a section of 1920s or 40s foundation. I like when we rebuild and get to build a brand new house, which we get to do, on occasion about, I'd say over the last 5 years, probably build about 50 brand new homes. Most of the time it's just based on a cost factor. People aren't just finding the land to build brand new homes, but the materials that what you're saying is these homes get to be structurally sound. They're built structurally for earthquakes. They're energy efficient. They're all built with plywood sides, the type of insulation, the type of roofing shingles, and just the efficient types of building materials allow for the overall efficiency, safety, and built to withstand another 100 years.
Awesome. Thank you. And obviously, many of these people in Altadena, starting this year, they didn't sign up to rebuild a new home. Many of these people probably never even envisioned building a custom home. So, what's the advice that you'd offer to someone who's just beginning this rebuild process? Where do you start, and what do you recommend?
Sure. So I like to always talk about how construction is a journey. Okay, construction starts with trust, really, and for our journey, it's as you journey through all the options, and you've been through so much to get to this point. As you go through, these last couple of months, and you've started learning about the rebuilding process, the options that are being presented in front of you. I think once you find someone that you connect with, that you start to have trust with, and you start building that trust, then you need to start taking your interest a little further. You need to then start getting to where, okay, this is valuable information. Let's see how we can move to the next step. The next steps are now moving into whether that's a design build contractor like us, or whether you have a architect that you've built trust with, that you want an architect to design it and you want to come to us, or a trusted contractor to build. So those are the steps. I think your first step in building a new home, if you do not have experience in construction, is just take it all that valuable information, and there's lots of good people out there trying to help. And when you feel that trust is there, start working with someone.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear. Trust but verify, and really work with someone who you feel like you have an honest relationship with. Thank you. You've worked on a ton of projects. I want to talk specifically about just reflection across your past projects, and of the multitude of jobs you worked on. What are some key aspects that homeowners often overlook? I'm sorry, when rebuilding or working through a construction or renovation project.
So I think as we're building, lots of times people are thinking, what do I need now? And not necessarily thinking about what may I need here a little bit in the future. or what do I need? You know, do I think I'm ever going to want an ADU? Do I think so? I'm going to say future proofing. Future proofing is an item that you just thinking what's going to come up down the road. Then if we can get through future proofing, which is something I think we're really good at, I'm always trying to understand needs and wants. And if I understand needs and wants, I just want to be able to put plumbing, put electrical, put the right logistics, put the right infrastructure in the right spot. So in the event future proofing is needed, you're going to save a lot of money down the road. In addition to that, I think during the construction process, sometimes folks will cut corners on costs on finish items. They'll be halfway through, they'll be towards the end, and it's just like, let's just get in and we can do this later. I think if there's certain items, if we don't cut cost on and we don't cut corners, let's make this a little smaller, let's do a little less here. It might end up being costing just a lot more, or I can do this later. There's sometimes I can do this later. Just, I think really knowing what is really the needs and wants would help, not having that project that sits maybe forever, that never gets done, and or maybe can't be afforded down the road. So if the finances are available to do it now, I would just say try to get everything that you can get now that won't have to be done down the road, because it might not have the opportunity to.
Those are both great points. I think we've thrown around the term like aging in place. You know, if you got someone who we're working with that might be a little bit they're not elderly, but they may be down that path, and they're building out a shower, you might guide them to install some blocking for the future where they may have to put handles in their shower. And obviously that's not something they want now, but instead of having to rip out all their tile to put that blocking and support in, they may do it ahead of time. When you talk about like doing things now or changing things at the last minute, is there anything specific that you could point to um, that are
Well,
overlooked,
I
as far as
mean,
like,
changing thing at the last minute, changes at the last minute are when after we have a approved set of plans and like a design change wants to happen, that we don't want those to happen when we're in construction. We want to think through those things. That is that could be something that's overlooked really in this stage now. If we're just starting plans, let's really think through our plans and know that it meets all our needs and wants.
okay, great, thank you. Matt, let's hit the next slide, please. All right, so process and execution. What do you really believe, John, is the most important thing that homeowners should be mindful of at the very start of their construction project?
In the beginning, just be mindful of expectations. In the beginning, construction's fun. We love it. Things move quickly. Framing generally happens quickly. We're going to get up, we're going to see a house, we're going to see a structure there. As things are moving quickly on the construction side, keep working on your side to know that the decision making is happening as quickly or has already happened during the planning process of while plans are in plan check. So when the slowdown happens, because after the home is built, things will slow down when we're into our infrastructure, like our electrical, plumbing, HVAC, which is our air conditioning, and all of everything but behind the drywall that takes a good amount of time to make sure it's correct. All of those items come from plans, but also comes from decision making that is made in your finish selections. So we don't want the process to slow down, because then when things slow down, that doesn't become as much fun. So I just, let people know how the journey is going to go. It's going to be on a big high when it starts for the first 2 to 3 months. It will stagger down, it will slow down to keep that as a high all the way through. Just have the decisions made.
Yeah, so it sounds like obviously involvement in planning and really ensuring that you hit all the details early on is key.
Yeah, and I don't know if Jonathan, if you've mentioned, like a huge benefit is being able working with us will be allow them to work with designers that are on our staff that'll be a part of our design studio, that all the decision making, all of the finished decisions can be done right at our facility in our design studio. And it will, hopefully you'll find 100% of the items that you're going to need to outfit your home. Maybe you'll only find 50%, but you'll be guided in the direction, which is, in my opinion, you're in your hardest, the hardest not the difficult stage right now in designing your needs and wants of designing your home. Then the second hardest part of your home build, which will be the hardest part, is making all your decisions of all the finish, what's going to outfit everything in the home. And that is what slows us down during the construction process. If we don't have all of our decisions and customizations and ideas all thought through, all the pieces of the puzzle, which we've built a team of designers to help do that. And that will keep that high going all the way through, because construction is fun in the beginning when we see our structure, because we're following plans. We have a crew of guys that are going to be out there building your house. We want to keep that moving forward.
Excellent. That was a good point. That really ties into this next question, which is really about ensuring how does the home stay on schedule? And you mentioned obviously design and selecting finishes and so forth. But tell us a little bit more about the home build staying on schedule and also within budget, and what disrupts that process.
Awesome. Yeah. So in plan check, there's no reason we don't start now. Start thinking about, what do we want our home to look like on the inside? What tile finish, what kitchen cabinets, what colors, what plumbing, electrical finishes. And nobody signed up for this. So nobody maybe understands what all these things are. There's 150 plus items that are outfitted inside your home. Just when you look around and you look and see a door handle, a doorstop, a blind, a casing, a base molding, a flooring, you see all of the pieces of the puzzle that it takes to outfit your home. When we start thinking of those items, let's start thinking of them now. We've built a design studio. We're working on it currently as we speak to get it outfitted. So within about a month and a half to 2 months from now, it will be furnished with all of these items to allow us to have folks come in and choose all of their finish items. This will be a huge benefit for folks to work with a leading designer, an interior designer, to choose these items. This will keep us on track. This will keep you in budget, because your estimate from us will be built with a mid-level finish package that will have many selections that will keep you within budget and hopefully slow any disruptors down.
Thank you for that explanation. So obviously there's a lot of houses that need to be rebuilt. There's a lot of pricing that's being thrown out there, all kinds of numbers, high and low. What are the current and projected construction costs per square foot in Altadena?
So we've estimated many jobs. Construction estimates range anywhere from $350 to $450 a square foot, with larger homes. If your home is over 3,000 square feet, it being on the lower number. If your home is 1,000 to 1,500 square feet, it's on the higher number. We're projecting like 1,000 square foot homes are $450 a square foot. 1,750 square foot home is $400 a square foot approximately. These are construction costs. Get your home built, finished, labor and material finished. You'll have soft costs in addition to this, which are your county fees, your architectural structural fees, your plan fees, and then you'll have costs on the exterior, additional fees with solar, as well as hardscape, landscape, which we'll talk about a little later. But those are exterior elements and soft costs in addition. But for construction costs, they're averaging between $350 and $450 based on square footage. And we can easily estimate plans. If you have plans together, we can easily estimate those. But that is an accurate ballpark number.
Awesome. Thank you. So, John, you've been in business a long time, done a lot of work in the Valley, specifically really in Burbank. Tell me about you. Describe your building approach. What separates you from the rest of the contractors out there in the Valley?
I think what it is, well, for number one, I like what I do. I like building residential homes. It's been a fun journey for me for the many years. I think one thing I'll pride myself with, if I get to toot my horn for a little bit, is I just see the whole picture. If I was talking with you, I can think through what your vision is. When I understand your vision, I can see it from being nothing all the way to the finish line. And so when we're explaining the process, or I'm building something, we're allowing for all of the the parameters that it takes to get us there. So it's just thinking through all the aspects. And in the designing process, it's getting, when you're designing, it's putting that all on paper, it's seeing it. I'm big on, when we're designing floor plans, I'm big on, where does my furniture go? How does everything work? I need my bed to sit here. I need my sofa to sit here. I need to be able to have walkways. I need to be able to move. Like, it's really making everything make sense. So I have had the opportunity to flip probably over 75 homes in my day. I buying and selling homes. I've taken so many unfunctional floor plans and made them make sense for families to live in a nice functional floor plan. So if there's an aspect that probably I do at a very high level, is just the vision to make things correct, to just make things work right, look right, from design aspect, the functionality aspect, and final finish. So I think that's those are some pretty good examples.
I like it. It's efficient.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cost and budgeting. So Matt, next slide, please. Awesome. So tell us about construction estimates. When you break it down, how do you calculate those numbers? What are we looking at? And what should, customers, clients be looking for on a construction proposal?
Sure. I think this is one thing that I've prided myself and my team for a long time, is our estimates are fully transparent. I believe that you should see where every one of your dollars goes. I come from finance. I come from budgeting. I understand, meaning I studied finance in college, and I, before I got into construction, numbers are important to me. So when we do an estimate, it's a line item detailed estimate that shows you the cost of every trade: foundation, framing, plumbing, electrical, roofing, drywall, stucco. Every piece that goes into your home will be spelled out down to our overhead and our contractor fee. You see our profit. We're 100% transparent, which is real important. I think when you get your estimate, we're not giving one big solid number that says, here it is, this is the total. We're breaking it down, and I'm happy to sit with you in our office, go through an estimate. You're happy to sit with Jonathan to go through your estimate and understand it. Because no matter how large your home, big or small, this is a large ticket item to build your home. So we want to understand the numbers. So our estimate is fully detailed. It's going to break down all of the elements of building.
Yeah, I think that's extremely important, John. Obviously, as you mentioned earlier in this presentation, is kind of the unknown factors in the design and those 150 choices. And so when you're looking at a construction estimate and you're able to break down every single line item, you can start finding what the detail is that's going to be required, such as all the trim, the door molding, window coverings, and really accounting for all these items that are required for you to really move in and enjoy your home so that you're not hit with unexpected costs at the end.
Yeah, the idea is our estimate is fully inclusive. It will have everything included that you need to fully use your home. The items that, there's only a few items that are really, one item that's not included is kitchen appliances. Second item, window coverings. Two items. Solar will be included, and we include low voltage. We currently have 4 items that are not included, but I've included them in this package because they're in our design studio now. So the only items that are purchased separate are kitchen appliances, because the warranty needs to travel with the homeowner. And then window coverings, there's just blinds, drapes. There's so many options. Homeowners will enjoy purchasing those. We can help install them. But all the items are included. There'll be several options in our design studio. And if they're not found in our design studio that are liked, then there'll be a credit that's been able to be given that folks can source them somewhere else.
Excellent. Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about issues during the build. Some things that come up that are unexpected, and how do we handle them? Maybe change orders or any other unexpected issues. What could you foresee happening?
So in Altadena, this is going to be rare. Okay, in new construction, Altadena barn, in new construction, when you have a cleaned lot, this is pretty rare, and it's not common unless The only reason that unforeseen costs come up is when changes are made. But an actual unforeseen cost in new construction that comes up is if we're digging and we find something strange in the soil, or some unforeseen soil idea. Like if we have compaction that we're doing on the lot and our soils engineer is not clearing us for compaction, that is when we compact the lot to get the building pad set for building. That would be like an unforeseen change. Okay. But as far as building the new construction home, our estimates inclusive. There's the number doesn't change. The number only changes if the homeowner wishes to make changes, which we're okay with. We'll invite changes. We want it to be 100% what you'd like it to be. So if we get through there and you're like, darn it, I just don't see that my bathroom should be laid out this way. I want to move it a little bit, or I want to change the closet a little bit. We'll make those changes. If they incur costs, they incur costs. We'll estimate it. If we can do it without incurring costs because there's a simple change, we'll do that. We have some built-in factors for a few minor changes. The items of changing, if we change windows or exterior doors, that is a bigger change. That's a structural change. We do not like to change windows or exterior doors. That gets into more of a difficult issue, but it's not possible. It just takes it might cause us to go back to the county and have to go back to plan check, potential delays. So I don't foresee, like when we're working on an old home and tearing it all apart, there are unforeseen items. In this case, barring the soils issue, which it's kind of rare, it's going to be strictly on the homeowner wanting to make changes.
Yeah, no, a couple of good points over there is like interior, if you're moving a closet, not so much of a big deal, but if you want to move a window and you've got headers that need to be moved elsewhere, or you want a bigger window than what you had before, that causes significant complications.
Just down to the structural. If we move windows or exterior doors, it's a structural element change. And I'm happy to accommodate anything. We can make any change work. It's just what level of cost and time does it take?
Absolutely. So beyond this, core construction costs, obviously, that we've discussed, what other expenses should homeowners plan for? We mentioned a few earlier in the presentation, but I just wanted for you to touch on it: fencing, irrigation, utilities, etc.
Sure. Yeah. So biggest one that currently stands that is required is a state law, which I don't believe has been lifted yet. We have a plans expert on our team who goes to the county he goes in person once a week. He emails probably at least twice a week. Xavier Thomas. Solar is still a requirement for new construction. It is a state requirement. We believe that the restrictions should be lifted, but that's not in our power. But solar is not a bad thing. It's just solar costs money. Average solar costs anywhere from on a smaller system, on 1,000 square foot home, maybe 1,000 square foot home, about $15,000, to a 3,000 square foot home might be $35,000, $40,000. So it's a sizable number for solar. Most insurance carriers, if you have ordinance and law, which everyone will have ordinance and law, we can try to put that under your ordinance and law allowances to be able to capture that cost there. But solar is a big one. I keep that in exterior elements. Hardscape. This is driveways, walkways, porches, patios. This is block wall, or we'll get the fencing. So, we all different types of concrete. That we have colored concrete, stamped concrete. We have pavers. There's a lot of hillside and sloped areas. We might need some retaining walls. So we need to get into what you want. There's all different cost factors. So hardscape's a big one. Goes hand in hand with hardscape is drainage. We really want to drain. We don't want water staying on our property. We want to drain to the city drainage system, which will go down the curb and gutter of your street. Hopefully most of the homes have curb and gutter on the street. Now, if you're depending on sloping, if you're on a down slope, then we're going to have to do a pump system, or we're going to have to figure out a way that we're going to capture the water on property away from the foundation of the home. So a drainage system. Landscape, the new homes are all going to be required to have a landscape plan. This is generally more of a drought tolerant landscape plan, but it has to do with how the irrigation systems are laid out and with the type of plants, the type of trees that you're going to install. So the landscape plan will need to be done. So those are your exterior costs: hardscape, landscape, and then we go into fencing. We can go from wood, chain link fences, wood fences, vinyl fences, block walls. The cost factors change all the way through. So really, what, after we got through the construction elements of understanding construction, we start going through based on finances and understanding what exterior elements. And at this point, some items we can do, some we just need to do the minimums. The minimum hardscape items we need are to get you out of your home. We need to be able to have a porch. We need to be able to have steps to get you out of your home if you're on a raised foundation. And we need to be able to have a hard surface that gets you into your garage if you have a garage. We don't need to pass inspection to have fencing. We don't need irrigation systems. We don't need, we need a minimal, whatever is approved on the landscape plan. So if financing doesn't allow us to do everything perfect, some of those items you can come back later on.
Yeah, good point. I think for many of these folks, staying on budget is of the utmost importance, and really making sure that we complete the main structure first. And also, like we said, is future proofing is we can kind of lay out a plan in the future for them
Sure.
to do some hardscape or landscape detail when funds become more readily available.
In our estimate, we have all of those items going as an allowance. All the exterior items are an allowance. So it doesn't have to get all thought out right now. We don't have to figure out those details now. We just know we need some of them. So I drop them in all as an allowance. So when we're in construction, you've done all of your homework to think about all the details and the finish items, we're building your home, then we start thinking about the exterior and start thinking about all those items.
Great. So a lot of the conversations that we've had with the community members is neighbors rebuilding together. They're looking to save money. They believe they can build with the general contractor who can help them out at scale. Tell us about building simultaneously. How do neighbors work together, and what would that process look like?
Sure. It's real simple. We have a system that's called rebuilding together. So if we can save money because we have multiple homes on one block, then we're going to extend those savings to the homeowners. That's a monetary discount right there, where the discount's going to be anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 per family, based on anywhere from 3 to 10 homes on your street or in the close perimeter of your street. Okay, that's financial. The second that I think is bigger than the financial is the resources. The idea that if we can have somewhere between 5 to 10 homes very close to your home, it allows for our team, our resources to be closer to your area. We keep our subs right in that neighborhood where things will just happen faster. We'll just be able to produce, and our project coordinator and our field coordinator, primarily the field coordinator who's going to be looking over those jobs, will most likely have a satellite, will have a office that will be in that area, maybe on that street, on someone's lot there, that will get to have a mobile office to work out of and be on site for all of those jobs on a daily basis, which will be very great. So I think financial is great. I want to give the discount. If we can save, you're going to save, but the resources is a huge benefit.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, let's talk about permitting and timeline. So tell us a little bit about the current, permitting landscape in Altadena. How has it been working with the county so far? Have you heard of any known delays or roadblocks, and what are you seeing right now?
So I don't believe it's too early to say that there's roadblocks. Okay. Because I don't think there's enough approved plan sets that have gone through to say there's roadblocks. The systems that the county is putting in place are just not proven yet. There's a lot of good intentions of being streamlined. We have several plan sets in planning that we have not once achieved exactly what they said they would do. It's been within a couple days or a week of what they said they're going to do on for merely the simple process of submitting the plan to receiving an invoice within 7 days. It might have been somewhere between 7 to 10 or 11 days. Now we're in processes of getting the approvals from planning. So I don't want to say that their systems have roadblocks yet. I think it's too early to tell. There's not enough plans in. I think if you have your plans created and submitted at this point or within the next probably 2 to 3 months, we'll still be in the earlier stages, in the earlier wave of the county being overwhelmed with plan checks. We come from, in our Burbank, Glendale, LA areas of working 4 to 6, 8 months to get plans approved. We're projecting based on timelines that they're presenting here with the county to be able to get permits in 3 to 4 months. The timelines are a little bit more aggressive that may lead to closer to 2 to 3 months, but we're projecting that I think it's more of a 3 to 4 month journey.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I really believe that, historically experience working with the county, it takes 6 to 8 months,
For
probably
sure.
on the short end to get a custom home approved. And the expectation is that it's going to be half of that time now. And so right now we haven't really seen a whole lot of activity in terms of permits being issued from the county. So the conversation's ongoing, and I believe all of us are trying to be as optimistic as possible about um, their, availability and their processing of all the applications to get them approved as quickly as possible. So, tell us about common issues that slow down the approval process. We know they're being bombarded, but what are some common things that you see going back and forth with the county, and how do you recommend to clients and other homeowners to avoid those?
So I don't know that this is on the homeowners so much. The homeowner's job is in the beginning. This first phase one, designing the concept, kind of really knowing your needs and wants. When we have the needs and wants really figured out and we can have a design approved, and that could be done, fairly expedient, then that allows us to move into phase two. Phase two allows us for the engineers to all do their job and to get it into the county and let the county do their job. Assuming in phase one, we design something that everyone likes, that our designers design something that meets the municipal code, which our plan expert, Xavier, takes every plan and gets it pre-qualified. He does his own pre-qualification of the plan. And the ones that are not every plan's easy, he'll take the more difficult plans and actually get them seen by the county during phase one. So those are our roadblocks. But guess what? We have been doing this for a long, long time. And the city and county officials, their job is to look through plans and look for a problem with the plans. So we anticipate it will happen. Sometimes they find problems, but as far as the design, we want, as long as our design is good, it's going to allow the approval process to not have roadblocks. I think that is just what it needs to be. And if the county says, if your lot happens to be on a lot that requires a topographic survey, we'll stay out in front of it. We'll get a topographic survey. If you had a 2-story big home before and you want to put a smaller home on there by chance, and when it takes compaction and the county says we need a soils report, let's stay out ahead of it. Let's get a soils report. Let's determine if we're going to be required to have compaction, and we'll get that done. So those are the roadblocks, but that's on our side. That's on our side to just stay ahead of. On the customer side, they're going to have to pay for those professional services, but not every lot is required to do those. The lots that call for that, we'll advise on that.
Yeah, John, you make a lot of good points over there. I think probably the key common issue that slows down approvals is hiring the wrong professionals. As you said, is the homeowner is not really responsible for going back and forth with the county. That's why they hired, the professional engineers and the designers to go through that
Sure.
for them. As well as I think really, like you said too, is you got to pay the fees. The county, they work when you pay them. So they, after your submittals, they take a few days, they issue the invoice, and they will not look at your plans until that fee is paid. So making sure that you pull out your credit card, or if your professional is making that payment on behalf of you, making sure that happens as soon as possible.
Yeah, on our end, we have that streamlined. So, we're going to collect our professional fees up front. We're going to collect our plans and plan check fee, our plans fee up front. It allows us to pay the nominal plan check fees right away, and then we'll bill back for the plan check and clearance fees. So this is one aspect that's working well with the county. Those are coming in digitally. They're emailed, and we pay them almost the same day, within hours of receiving, because we have a design coordinator that receives them. Our accounting team, we're on cue to pay them, because exactly what Jonathan said, we don't want to skip a beat. We don't want to lose. We don't want to, mistakes could happen. Something could get lost in an email, but the goal is we receive the payment request from the county. We're going to pay it right away. We're not waiting to mail a check in or to go drop one off. It's getting paid via a link right away.
Yeah, good point. All right, Matt, next slide. Design and build integration. So tell us a little bit about the benefits of involving your construction team early on. Why is it important to work with a design build contractor? What are the benefits?
So I talked a little bit earlier about the design studio. And as far as the design build, I think when we start now, if we design your home, we think about value designing. Okay. We're designing not only as we want to design that will work for your needs and wants, something that really looks great, but we're also designing with a value in mind of how to build this cost effectively. We like to build with roof trusses, manufactured trusses, okay, that are built off site, that come through and allow the roof structure to go in. This allows us to do really cool things inside your home, like vaulted ceilings and special raised ceilings, tray ceilings, scissor truss that we're going to use to do this. It keeps costs down with big beams that we have to put in and upgraded foundations. So those are things that if you don't value design, you could make the greatest designs, big open floor plans, but when it goes to the structural engineer, they're going to go, okay, we can do this. It's just going to get very costly. So that is a huge benefit, I think, if we start there now. When we want to make changes, not that everyone wants to make changes, but everyone can't visualize from the beginning, what is that going to look like? I just don't really see that. So if there are changes that need to be made, and like I said earlier, we factor in, we know there's going to be a couple little changes here and there. It's just when bigger changes happen, their cost factors come in. But if they're caught early and we make changes, like we just talk, we're all one team. We can just figure that out. So I like the fact that when we design value design, it's only going to help in our cost. Number two, we get to help navigate. Okay, we're navigating your journey from the beginning. So when you start with us, you're starting that 3 to 4 month plan process to roll right into your, depending on the size of your home, 6 to 14 month construction build based on this, again, the size of your home. And when changes are needed, the delays are minimal because we have our engineers, our designers, everyone's on our team.
No, you hit a lot of really good points over there. I like to use the term value engineering, but you said value design. Same thing, is really just making sure that everyone's goals are aligned throughout the journey of the construction, and understanding budget and really cost control. So,
one reason, sorry, Jonathan, I think I say value design sometimes because our lead designer, Jim Gove, is a general contractor. He was a GC for many, many years. And so then he went into design just because he loves it so much and he's so great at it. And so he sees what most designers and or architects probably don't, because he's physically built many, many homes and understands that process. So he gets to design them in a way that they're going to be able to be built. Then we get to go to our own engineer that we work with on a regular basis. And it's just a benefit across the board.
Yeah, no, I agree with that entirely. Is you can design anything, but as soon as it gets to the engineer's hands, if it costs a fortune to build it, then who's going to pay for it? So making sure that everyone's aligned early on is extremely important. Um, Tell us about, I know you have extensive history as a design builder, but do you work with any other architectural plans, or if someone's got a full set of plans that's stamped and approved? Are you willing to take a look at those and walk us through that process?
Sure. Good question. So most importantly, we are a builder. So I'm not in the business of just doing plans. Okay. Um, Pre-fire at Brennan Construction, people call us to talk to us about construction because they had an idea, they want to do something. I go and visit them. I talk to them. I tell them ideas. I give them thoughts. I let them know what they can do. Um, we may do a design for them. I may refer them to an architect. We love to work with architects and designers. It We have no issues of doing the design ourselves or working with your architect. In this case, in Altadena, I bet we will work with many architects and many more architects than designs we'll do ourselves. We just won't physically capably be able to do everybody's design. Um, we have the bandwidth to do a lot of designs, but I think we're going to receive a lot of architectural plan sets, and we're very happy for that. Working with other architects is what I've done for many years. Now, uh, that that leads to just now working with another level of their team. I talked about some areas earlier where that could cause some delay, but that's just part of the construction process. So if you're able to work the design with us and you feel the streamlined process will be on your side, but I by no means ever want to get in the way of a relationship that someone has with another architect. Very happy to take those plans and estimate those because we're a builder first, and that's just how it works.
Awesome. All right, quality assurance and labor. This is going to be a big one. Um, what do you do in particular, and what measures do you take to ensure that you receive consistent quality from your staff as well as from your subcontractors throughout the build of the homes?
So we have a very large team now. We build 30 to 50 projects at a time and have for the last 5 years consistently. So I have multiples of great trades that I've used. I have some trades that I've used entirely from day one. My lead framer has been with me from my very first home I've ever built. Um, Many of my subs have been with me many years. So we have a vetting process. Our subs are insured. They have workers' comp. They have to meet the requirements. I have a high standards. I only like working with professionals. I like making sure that the teams that come on site represent the brand and represent my vision of doing good quality work. Their work is overseen by our quality control and our field and project coordinators and our field and manager and project coordinator. So like there's a high standard. So if we don't accept, substandard work. So therefore I look and vet subs that are going to meet my standards.
So, kind of digging in a little more into meeting your standards, tell us, how do you select the subs and also the other tradespeople?
Well, in this case, they're gonna have to have some bandwidth. Like for example, my electricians or my plumbers or my HVACs, they're gonna have to. We're not looking for the small outfits that can handle one or two jobs. They're gonna have to be able to handle groups of jobs, anywhere from the minimum of 10 to 30 jobs. And the process, construction is a process. We're not doing 10 houses a week of just electrical and 10 houses a week of just plumbing. So, but overall, they're going to need a bandwidth of handling an average of 30 to 50 jobs. So they're going to have their own team. Their support system is going to have to align with ours. So that's part of the vetting process. Secondary, that they're going to have the ability of their supply chain is going to have to be on point. Their materials, their pricing with me is going to have to stay on point, because when we contract with the homeowners, our pricing doesn't change. When we start construction, after their plans have gone through and we've amended their costs and we're ready to, whatever the final cost is before we start construction, that cost is not going to change. So my subcontractors that I am using have to be large enough, have the bandwidth enough, have the resources to where if there's any adjustments and we start to see adjustments in cost, adjustments in labor, they have the bandwidth to be able to keep their promises, their contracts with me, and future contracts then would be adjusted.
Great, good explanation. Thank you. Are there current challenges right now with labor and material availability? And what do you foresee kind of in the future? And what should these future home builders be aware of?
So I currently have no issues with trades or materials or cost. I don't see this being a problem over this next year. I see in a year from now, full year from now, when Altadena is starting to be in full swing and Palisade starting to be in full swing of building, that we are going to see the cost of labor starting to increase and the cost of materials starting to increase. But like as I just shared, we will, when we write our estimates and we get a approved set of plans and we're ready to build, as long as we're within 10 days of starting that job, we're going to finalize our number and we're going to hold on that number, on a contracted number. So that price is fixed. We're going to be securing our resources, early on when that job starts. And that way the homeowner feels good when they contract. They're not seeing a volatile price adjustment on their construction fees. So, but I think we're solid for a good year. That's my opinion. I don't have a crystal ball. I've been around it a long time. I worked through COVID and really saw, like, in the last 5 years, we've seen 3 major price hits that I've seen really push the market. And I'll just go through them. COVID, we saw lumber, and then every other material follow that. Okay. Then we saw fuel. When fuel raised prices, it just followed, it just raised the cost of more heavy materials across the board. That really, when fuel went up, it really raised the cost of all the other materials. Then labor increased because fuel went up. Everyone needs to make more money to be able to pay for everything else, because not just construction materials. When fuel went up, inflation started moving across our country, and then everything got more expensive. So we've seen all that happen. I don't know that we're seeing major adjustments in fuel anymore. I think our labor is already on a high. If we continue to see inflation rise and labor continues to grow, that's going to be our next uptick. I think the specialized labor, that's going to be harder to come by if you don't have systems like us, like we do in place, having large teams in place. Those are going to be harder people to keep on your teams and keep paying at a reasonable rate, because those numbers are going to continue to grow. I don't see that happening though for a good year and a half.
I agree with you. I think in a year from now, especially the specialized trades are going to recognize that their services are in high demand.
There's just going to be too much demand, and people are going to be throwing money at it just to get their job done.
Just to get it done.
That's where working with a larger scale contractor that has the resources is going to be a benefit. You're either going to work with a specialized small scale contractor that has the 1 or 2 jobs at a time, or you're working with a larger scale contractor that has a large team that can get it done still. But it's going to be hard to work in between.
I agree with that. All right, Matt, next slide, please. All right, so let's talk a little bit about post-fire. Tell us about your team experience in rebuilding homes in fire damaged areas like Altadena.
Sure. So first off, the rebuilding process, being whether it be Altadena, be in the valley here, in San Gabriel Valley, I mean, the process is generally the same. We have the same model of how we start to finish. Our whole system, everything is systematic for us. Our project coordinator has a teammate that's a field coordinator. They both have a supervisor above them that's a project manager and a field manager. In the field, they have a support team that goes around with their team. They have also a quality control person that looks at all of the subs work. So those are all good aspects. So our team is built out and set to build no matter where we are. And as far as the process, it's systemized. We are trade specific, okay, where we don't have a large team that does everything, like every different trade. My roofers do roofing, my drywall guys do drywall, my plumbers do plumbing, my electricians do electrical work. So everything is we're just a puzzle mover. We move from foundation to underground plumbing to foundation to framing to all the different resources that it takes. Okay. Now in Altadena, we have a lot of different lot sizes. We have odd shaped lot sizes. Some are standard, some are wider, some are bigger. Then we have different slopes. So working with the different slopes, working around some of the existing trees that are still there that we have to protect. Those are just elements that, you know, I've worked in many Pasadena homes where like the oak trees that are there we have to protect. We fence around the oak trees. We make sure those stay protected. We, you know, slope analysis. Some certain lots, like I mentioned earlier, are going to require soils testing. They're going to not testing as far as soils compaction. So, and if we have too much slope, it's going to require deepened footings. So that expertise coming from our engineers to our field foundation guys, that's going to be bringing the level that's needed for Altadena.
Awesome. All right, we got a few more questions to try to get through quickly, and then we'll do some Q&A. How does this rebuild process differ when insurance companies and insurance funds are now involved?
So the biggest differ for us is that the insurance money goes to, if you have a loan on your property, the insurance money goes to generally like an escrow account. It's managed by an escrow company or a third party company. It requires a lot of work on our end as the contractor, which we've done many times, where we have to do draw requests. We have to have someone that understands how to request funds at a certain periods of the time. What we need to do is be able to continue to request funds on a timely manner and get paid so we can keep the job moving timely. There's going to be parts where some folks are going to get some of their money and the rest of the money is going to be with the insurance. This is going to be a good case where we can get enough money to start the job, where they're going to be able to fund the start of the job. And then we're going to be able to build the insurance company along the escrow company along the way. So that it's just a timing issue. And thankfully on our team, I have folks in insurance with insurance experience that will just work through that finance part of it.
Couple of good points there. Thank you, John. Tell us about updated fire safety, maybe some code compliance and or energy efficiency building codes that we should really explore in terms of rebuilding these homes in Altadena.
Sure. So there has always been fire prevention measures on all construction. There's certain areas higher on the hill in Altadena that were considered high fire zone. They've now moved the high fire zone further down the mountain. And it's going to consist of, we're going to have what's called volcan vents, for example, the eave and foundation vents. These vents are created to where if fire hits them, they close up and don't allow the fire to go into your attic or under your house. If your home is built with siding, we're going to put special material behind the siding that allows it to add another layer of a 1 hour fire rating called Den's glass. There's special insulation that's made by a company called Rockwool that I've used for many years. It offers sound reducing benefits, but it also offers a fire rating of, I believe it's a 2 hour fire rating on the Rockwool insulation. So you know, those are just some simple measures, but the roof shingles have more of a fire retardant than the older shingles. The boxed in eaves, you know, we're not going to be able to have exposed eaves because that's where our fire will travel right into the attic. There's just a number of measures that are going to be code required, and we're going to suggest that is just going to be one. Some might be a design and fire, but mainly fire. And as far as efficiency, we have what's called Title 24 that on every new home has to meet Title 24, which is a state energy compliance we're going to have no choice, but your new home is going to be energy compliant, from the water heaters to the insulation to the air conditioner heating system to the roof shingles to the plywood under that roof shingles to the insulation under the floor there to many aspects that go into the home are all set up to be energy efficient. So that's what, from the first question you asked me earlier, what I like about new construction is the structural aspects and the efficiency of new homes.
Good points there. Matt, next slide, please. All right, so we've got through all of our questions. I want to talk a little bit about just BZ Build Co. What separates this firm from other general contractors out there? You know, I know that we're focused on building one of one unique homes. We've created a real easy three-step process where we're taking folks through the design and conceptual, making sure that they're satisfactory, and really kind of turning their imagination into life, and then, you know, getting their plans approved and then walking them through construction. Is there anything else that you wanted to add on BZ Build Co. and why the community should trust us as their builder and contractor of choice?
I think a lot of those things, I mean, what you said is all true. So like I shared from one of the first couple questions, like for me, I think before you make the decision of who you want your contractor to be, is I want to earn your trust first. So if we can earn your trust to continue the conversation, to deepen that trust, I'm happy to say that every customer I've ever worked for trusted me. They wanted me to guide their journey. They wanted me to entrust me to build, whether it was on the smaller scale or to a large scale of building their property. And the trust is 90% of what it's going to take to complete this process. So I realize there are so much information out there. There are so many things being told to folks. Look out for this, look out for that. If you feel that trust can be earned here with BZ Build Co., with myself, with Jonathan, with Matt, then let us be your quarterback. Let us start. Let us do the phase one. Let us do the phase two, the plans. Let us just estimate if you have plans. I think it's time to start. We can do that. And that's what I've done for 15 years with hundreds and hundreds of families.
John, tell us about kind of working with the design build sort of as a dance, going back and forth, choosing the right partner, and making sure that every move is kind of aligned back and forth, and also some of the challenges that you also face within that.
Well, the biggest dance we have is getting everything together to get to the county and just going back and forth with them. But as far as in the beginning, the you know, when the trust factor is there, now it's fun. It's fun. It's hard because you're thinking, oh, what do I want? What do I want? This is a hard part in the beginning on the design, but this is a fun part, all thinking about all your needs and wants. If we're in a situation where we have insurance money and it looks like we have enough money to build what we want, this will be very exciting. Our lead designer, when you get to do your final finishes with him, with Jim Gove, you're going to enjoy that time. He's going to model that house for you. It's going to sing and dance, and you're going to be very excited to see what the house is going to look like. Then we're going to get through that process with the county and start construction. So the journey never goes from one point to the next, to A to Z in one straight line. It has the abilities to go left and right all the way through. But with our systems in place, with our infrastructure of having so many people in place to help guide your journey, with relationship managers, with your project manager and your field manager, it just makes the journey easier. And I think if you want to put trust in BZ Build Co. and have a journey that just goes, and people that have done it time and time and time again, I think it's time to make the decision. Let's do it.
Well said. Hey, thank you for your time, John. I wanted to open it up. We got Eileen and Mark over here, and Sam. This is open forum for Q&A. And if you got any questions about the presentation, anything that you're going through individually, really anything specific around construction that you want to know, feel free to either raise your hand or drop something in the chat.
Eileen, I've giving you the ability to talk. Yeah. You just have to be unmuted.
Oh, thank you, Matt. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Nice to meet you. And
Hi there.
Jonathan, nice to see you again.
Yes.
Oh, I guess I should, well, I don't have my camera on. So some of our neighbors are saying $600 a square foot. And I'm like, where is that coming from? Are they just working with very high-end people, or it seems
Quite
it just,
honestly, I have a tough time with that too, because
yeah,
I've built lots of things. I've written many estimates,
right.
and I will tell you that we're not the most expensive, and I'll tell you that I'm not the cheapest. I like to be in the middle. I like to sometimes be in the middle upper. I will tell you that when I'm sitting across from a family, if they're like, John, I've interviewed 5 contractors. You're the only one that's given me the most information, the most detailed estimate, but you happen to be the cheapest. I never want to hear that, quite honestly. It just doesn't mean I didn't align something right, but I don't understand where $600 is coming from, because we're going to be able to build. Give me an idea, Eileen, approximately how big is your home?
Oh, it's probably somewhere around 25 to 27.
25 to 27. So construction costs, you're going to be somewhere between 900 and $1 million to build your home,
Mhm.
like the construction side. And then I'm going to have those exterior elements, of all the items that I talked earlier. And, those are going to range somewhere between 180 and $200,000 for exterior elements. Okay. And then your soft costs, which are your plans and permits, you're going to range, those are going to be about $25. So with that said, you're going to be in about $475 to $500 a square foot all in.
Okay.
So a good $100 a square foot under. And I'd like to compare apples to apples, even at the $600 a square foot they're being quoted. Like I'm confident in all in numbers of everything you're going to need.
That's really great. Thank you. I just like to, it's just great to get your perspective. Thank you.
Sure. And I'm
And
happy
and the numbers. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. And I'm happy to, if you have a design, or have you started with a design yet?
Yeah. With Jim. He's
Oh,
You
perfect.
working with us.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't
No,
know that.
that's okay.
So we're gonna get a chance to meet. I'll do a line item estimate for you. Okay. And when we get that line item estimate, Jonathan, is she one of your customers?
Yes.
So then we'll meet, and I'll explain the estimate thoroughly. So on that estimate, when we're on our journey to phase 3. So
Okay. Thank you.
yeah.
And then Mark or Samuel, did either of you have any questions? Seems good. All right. Well, then thank you all very much for taking the time to watch our presentation tonight. We do these weekly. Every week on Thursday at 6 p.m. We have these online webinars. They're not just for BZ clients, though obviously we hope those who watch them, see the level of quality that we like to work at and choose to talk with us. So please, share these with your friends as well.
Hey,
We
Matt,
just
did
we're
Eileen
trying
raise
to
her
be
hand again? Sorry, did Eileen raise
Oh
her
no,
hand?
I think Eileen just did you leave your hand raised, or here, let me.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, got it. All right. And so, yeah, we just we're trying to provide a valuable resource for the community in terms of what we can speak to with the expertise we have. Because again, like John and Jonathan were saying earlier, nobody woke up the first week of January this year thinking I'm gonna build me a house. And so, yeah, I live right off Lake in Howard. I'm just down the street from you guys. I understand what's going on. So we're just trying to be as useful as possible. So please tell your friends, and hopefully we'll see you on another one of our webinars. And you can view our previous webinars off of our YouTube channel, which is BZ Build Co. Our first one was just on the general road to rebuilding, and our second one last week was with our permitting expert, Xavier Thomas, who John mentioned, is speaking with the county multiple times a week in person and over email, all about the permitting process. So both of those are available on our YouTube channel as well. So once more, thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope to talk to you soon.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you.